Hello world, welcome to part 4 of my show and tell record collection. I'm going from the J's up until the M's, and yeah, there's an elephant in the room here. The elephant being that there's no Lennon or McCartney stuff here, because I'm going to make a separate video about all of my solo stuff for that. Talking of which, part 2 of my John Lennon solo deep dive series is up now, so hopefully some of you have watched that, and hopefully if you're watching this and you haven't watched that, then you'll go and watch that as well. Alright, thank you. Right, starting out with Jack Johnson, In Between Dreams. This became slightly ubiquitous in the early noughties because Microsoft included a copy of it gratis and free when they were trying to promote Windows Media Player. Is that correct? And songs like Banana Pancakes are saying nothing really, and yeah, we could probably do without them, a bit like we could do without some of the more twee songs of Prince's output. Everybody's looking for Graffiti Bridge, are they? Jean-Michel Jarre, Oxygène, very nice indeed. And now some of my favourites now, Grace Jones, Island Life. This is the 1985 compilation that they made to coincide with the release of the song Slave to the Rhythm. They released Pull Up to the Bumper at about the same time as well from here. Just superb, absolutely superb. This is Night Clubbing, and this is Living My Life, which contains a song called The Apple Stretching, which is great. Sorry, my chair's creaking. This is Humans Lib by Howard Jones, which 1983, his first album. It's really nice. I played that today and it was like giving your mental health a bit of a massage and a bit of a nice gentle talking to. Really lovely, really nice. And it contains a little masterpiece on there called Hide and Seek, which is just gorgeous. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Very embarrassing. Kenny, can you see those flappers down there? Just terrible, just terrible. They were kind of, I suppose, a competition for the Bay City Rollers, and just awful. And I think they had the same producers as well, which made it even worse because they all just used to cover each other's songs, and just, ooh, terrible. Terrible. That Jumps, which is its saving grace, which means I don't play it. This is Carole King's Tapestry album, and I adore the photo on that cover. This is Kings of Leon, Holy Roller Novocaine on red vinyl. I've put a needle drop to that on YouTube, and very nice it is too. Hopefully I'll try and remember to put a link. I need to listen to my Kinks stuff more. This is Well Respected Kinks, which I don't play because, again, is battered. But trying to find original Kinks vinyl in good condition is like trying to find hen's teeth. And yeah, but it's nice to have anyway. And Marble Arch were, as I say, a budget label of Pie. I had a Marble Arch Donovan compilation as well, which I've shown you already. This isn't a 70s reissue of the Kinks' first album, and this is the Kinks Controversy. I've got a lot more of the Kinks on CD than I have on vinyl. I need to sort that one out. Loads of things I need to sort out, including this creaking chair. Right, Gladys Knight and the Pips, for those moments where you want Gladys Knight and the Pips. I can't get out of my head whenever I see Gladys Knight and the Pips. I just can't get out of my head. We used to have a programme in the early 80s called Three of a Kind, and on it Lenny Henry did this fantastic impression of her. It's just lovely. So go and find that if you need a laugh. Brilliant. Let Love Rule, Lenny Kravitz, Mr. Cab Driver is a bit of a masterpiece. So now we're on to my Cooler Shakers. Alright, again, most of my Cooler Shaker stuff is on CD, but I do have... This is a recut for an anniversary. Would it have been the 30th anniversary of Kay, something like that. Sadly, they've not included the little run out groove. Back in the 90s, it was fun, in quotes, to make you think that the CD is finished, and if you hadn't bothered to change the CD, then you would be taken by surprise by a little bit of gibberish at the end. And certainly there is a bit of gibberish on the end of there which hasn't been cut onto the LP. It's a shame, even if we didn't have to wait for like 10 minutes or something before it, if they could have just sort of put it in the run-out groove or something, a bit like they did on Sgt. Pepper. Revenge of the King. After Peasants, Pigs and Astronauts, which I sadly haven't got on vinyl, Kula Shaker disappeared for several years, and then they had a rethink, I suppose, and a comeback, and this was the first fruit of that labour, and it kind of became the Strange Folk album. But this has got 2 numbers from Strange Folk. Dictator of the Free World and 6 Feet Down are on Strange Folk, but they're remade versions. Right, this is a limited edition, and it's limited edition number 804. So, one day that might be worth something. You never know. Right, so this is part of Kula Shaker's Pilgrim's Progress, which was the follow-up to Strange Folk, and I think much better. That came as part of a box set where you got the CD and some postcards and whatnot. You got a t-shirt and you got that as well. The t-shirt and the vinyl are the only thing that I actually use. Right, this is K2, which I think was the follow-up from Pilgrim's Progress. It's brilliant. I would put it on a par with Peasants, Pigs and Astronauts, which I actually prefer to K. Right, it's much more introspective than K is, and I love it. I really love it. And inside this sort of box set, you've got the album. You've also got little bits of sheet music and stuff. I think I've shown it before, but it is fantastic. So yeah, this is Led Zeppelin 2, the only Led Zeppelin I have anywhere in my collection at all. All right, I do like it. I don't particularly care for this reissue demo thing. I think I've played that once, but the album itself is great. Peggy Lee is That's All There Is. In take 2 of this video, I called her the thinking man's Julian Clary, because in a sense she is. She has this quite deadpan sense of delivery, which is great. It's, you know, it's kind of a bit Marlene Dietrich. Just think He's a Tramp, for example, from Lady and the Tramp, and you know, she actually wrote and performed all the music for Lady and the Tramp. So that's the kind of style it is. But yeah, it's just brilliant. It's just very, very nice indeed. Level 42. This is their sellout album. As in, when I say sellout, I mean you sold out, you gave away all your values just to make a cash-in album. It's the only vinyl of theirs I've got. I think I've got on a CD or cassette somewhere or other, I've got the first album, the one that's got The Chant That's Begun on it. And, you know, they had a conscience at one stage. I don't think that is their first album, is it? Was the first album the one with the Chinese Way on it? Not sure, but anyway, I've got the one that's got The Chant That's Begun on it, which I quite liked. But yeah, this is just, you know, saying nothing. And I think it caused the split because one of them, I think it was possibly the drummer, who complained that he could have been doing the same thing at Butlins. This is Love. The Third Coming of Love, 45th anniversary edition of the landmark psychedelic masterpiece. It is great. It says it's cut from the original analog master by Chris Belmont, is that? At Bernie Grumman mastering, but I don't actually like the cut of it. I don't think the cut sounds quite as good as the CD. However, that's a great album. Get it, you must hear it. It's superb. Alright, now I've got 2 copies of Like a Virgin, but I haven't. I have 2 Like a Virgin sleeves. One of them has Madonna, the first album, there's a slight bit of history here. The first time that most of us in the UK, at any rate, heard of Madonna was when she did a song called Holiday, which got into the top 20, and it was good, brilliant, lovely song, great, whatever. In 1984, she released Like a Virgin, and the first songs that we heard from that, I think, was Material Girl, and then Like a Virgin itself. But in 1985, she had an absolutely smash hit film called Desperately Seeking Susan, and as part of that, there was a song called Into the Groove, which hadn't been released on an album, obviously as a single, and the single did absolutely fantastically. So what they did was repressed Like a Virgin, including Into the Groove, and then remade or repressed the Madonna album that Holiday came from as the first album. So one of these contains the first album. This is called Check to see what you're actually buying before you actually buy it. So yeah, one of these has got the first album on it that has Holiday on it. It's the sleeve that credits Into the Groove. The actual Like a Virgin album that I have does not have Into the Groove on it and is in the correct sleeve that doesn't credit Into the Groove. So this is True Blue by Madonna, and this is You Can Dance, which is a remix album that came out at the end of '87. Alright, this is Legend by Bob Marley and the Wailers. Martha and the Vandellas' greatest hits. Do love a bit of Motown, as you know. This is a fantastic album called Continuum by John Mayer. It is actually textured, it's not completely white, but yeah, it's really quite a lovely sleeve actually. It's a double album, one of these half-speed remastered things. Obviously, the lead-in song on it, Waiting on the World to Change, is probably, one of the best, but it's brilliant. This is Meatloaf. Dead Ringers. Don't really know it, but obviously we like Dead Ringers for Love. This is George Michael's Faith album. I still feel so sad about George Michael. I wasn't a great Wham fan in the day, and so I feel sad that I didn't really appreciate him. Obviously sad that he died, and I was actually sort of quite teared up the other day. I watched a YouTube, and they've put some of the old BBC pop quizzes. Someone's uploaded some of them on YouTube, and there's George Michael as a contestant on there from 1982 or something, and it's a real shame really what happened to him. He just looks so gorgeous, so beautiful. Joni Mitchell, Clouds, very, very nice indeed, dear. Joni Mitchell, Ladies of the Canyon, very, very nice indeed, dear. Joni Mitchell, Blue, my favourite Joni Mitchell, obviously. Now, then there's a massive gap in my collection. Court and Spark I have on CD, and I've got a greatest hits of hers on CD as well. So the next vinyl one that I've got is Hey Jira from about 76, I think, 77. And I hate to say this, folks, but perhaps I like it. Maybe I haven't given it as much of a chance as I should give it, but to me, I just find it completely forgettable. I can't even name you a single song on it, right? I think there came a time after Court and Spark where she tried to get very clever. Well, you can't just sort of go away and hum the tune, and that's what was so right about this. It was melodically strong enough to carry her lyrics, and therefore you remember her lyrics. I could drink a crate of you and still come back for more. I'm afraid you sort of forget about it. And Chinese Cafe on this album is great, but the rest of them, again, it's another 9 or 10 songs that I don't know, folks, kind of thing. Morrissey, Viva Hate. And then my favourite Morrissey album, probably I think the best thing he ever did, was You Are the Quarry. Includes a song called America Is Not the World. I'm so grateful that he said it, and that he said it in the way that he said it. Obama hadn't won an election by that time, but he said, where the president is never black, female or gay. And I'm so grateful that he said it. Finally, a couple of Van Morrison's here, Astral Weeks and Moondance, two absolutely great albums. I've got Into the Music somewhere on vinyl, but I just can't find it. I don't know where it's gone. Again, I have more on CD than I have on vinyl. This is a Motown Chartbusters thing that I got after I saw the Motown musical in London many years ago now. And then Alison Moyet's Rain Dancing album to finish. Okay, so please don't forget to like, subscribe, share if you dare. I'll see you in the next one, and yeah, see you. Bye bye.